South Africa is a land of breathtaking landscapes, where rugged mountains, deep forests, and winding rivers create a paradise for adventurers. Among its many natural wonders is Storms River, a place where towering cliffs and swirling waters carve a dramatic path through the Tsitsikama National Park. Known for its lush scenery and exhilarating outdoor activities, Storms River is a destination that draws thrill seekers from all over the world. One of the most popular adventures here is Blackwater tubing, an adrenaline-pumping experience that takes tourists through fast-moving rapids, dark gorges, and swirling whirlpools. But while this journey can be thrilling, nature is always unpredictable. What begins as an exciting ride can turn into a fight for survival in an instant. In today's video, we'll explore the tragic accident that unfolded when a group of tourists set out for what should have been a funeral day on the river, only to find themselves caught in the raw and unforgiving power of nature. Welcome to Risky Reality, where risks become reality. Before I start the video, don't forget to like this video and to subscribe to the channel. For now, let's continue the video. Storms River is one of South Africa's most breathtaking natural wonders. Nestled within the rugged Tsitsikama National Park, this river carves a dramatic path through dense indigenous forests and sheer rock cliffs. It is part of the famed Garden Route, a stretch of coastal beauty that attracts nature lovers and thrill seekers alike. The river itself is a striking combination of tranquility and raw power, its dark waters winding through a deep, narrow gorge before meeting the Indian Ocean in a spectacular display of natural force. The region surrounding Storms River is a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. The dense Tsitsikama forest, with its towering yellowwood trees and thick undergrowth, is home to diverse wildlife, including playful vervet monkeys, colorful turacos, and even the elusive Cape clawless otter. The sound of the river is ever-present, its murmurs shifting between a gentle lull and a mighty roar, depending on the season and rainfall levels. This dynamic landscape has long fascinated adventurers, offering hiking trails, canopy tours, and, of course, the thrill of Blackwater tubing. Among the many activities that draw adventurers to Storms River, Blackwater tubing is one of the most exhilarating. Unlike traditional whitewater rafting, Blackwater tubing involves navigating the river's currents on individual rubber tubes. Participants float through calm stretches, tackle rapids, and maneuver past towering rock formations, all while surrounded by the lush, untamed beauty of the Tsitsikama forest. It is a thrilling experience, one that allows for a deep connection with nature, but it also comes with its risks. The narrow gorges and unpredictable currents mean that even experienced tubers must remain alert at all times. In March 2000, a group of 24 South Africans set out on what was supposed to be an unforgettable tubing excursion. Organized by Storms River Adventure, a well-known adventure company in the region, the trip was meant to be an exciting journey down the river, guided by experienced professionals. The participants, clad in wetsuits but notably without life jackets, load into the gorge, unaware of the forces of nature that would soon turn their adventure into a desperate fight for survival. For days leading up to their trip, the area had been battered by heavy rainfall. The ground was saturated, and unseen tributaries feeding into Storms River had been swelling. Despite these conditions, the guides, who had checked the river just an hour before departure, saw no immediate cause for concern. The group began their descent, laughing and enjoying the ride as they glided through the serene stretches of the river, blissfully unaware of the danger looming ahead. The initial leg of the journey was magical. The river was calm, allowing the group to take in their surroundings. The towering cliffs on either side made the gorge feel like a secret world, hidden from civilization. They paddled lazily with their hands, feeling the cool water against their skin, as echoes of laughter bounced off the rock walls. Some took turns jumping into the deeper pools, enjoying the refreshing break from the warm air. It was a moment of peace, a deep connection with the wild heart of nature, until everything changed. Suddenly, without warning, a powerful surge of water rushed into the gorge. It was a freak flood, an unexpected torrent that had built up in a hidden tributary before bursting into Storms River with devastating force. In an instant, the leisurely ride turned into chaos. More than half of the group was swept away, their rubber tubes no match for the churning waters. Screams of panic echoed through the gorge as participants desperately tried to grab onto anything that might keep them afloat. The river, once a playground, had turned into a merciless force of destruction. Water slammed against the jagged cliffs, creating deadly whirlpools that trapped anyone unlucky enough to be caught in their grip. Some tubers, realizing the danger, tried to paddle furiously toward the banks, but the current was too strong. The sheer walls of the gorge provided little to hold onto, leaving them at the mercy of the river's relentless pull. Some managed to pull themselves onto the rocky banks, their bodies battered and shivering from the cold. Others were not so lucky. The powerful currents dragged them deeper into the river, where jagged rocks and relentless rapids made survival nearly impossible. Those who had clung to the cliffs or scrambled onto ledges could only watch in horror as their friends disappeared into the raging waters. The true scale of the disaster would only become clear in the hours that followed. As darkness fell over the gorge, the survivors clung to rocks, their hopes resting on the possibility of rescue. The night was long and brutal. The roar of the river drowned out all other sounds, making it impossible to call for help. Some survivors huddled together for warmth, their soaked wetsuits offering little protection from the cold. Others sat alone in silent fear, unable to see how many others had made it through the initial flood. Meanwhile, authorities and emergency teams were mobilizing, preparing for an operation that would test their skills and courage against the unforgiving terrain and relentless river. The rescue effort was about to begin. As dawn broke over the Tsitsikama National Park, rescue teams faced a daunting challenge. The sheer cliffs of the storm's river gorge, combined with the powerful currents below, made any attempt to reach the stranded survivors incredibly difficult. But time was of the essence. Those who had survived the initial surge had already endured an entire night clinging to rocks, cold, exhausted, and terrified. Helicopters were quickly dispatched, their blades slicing through the morning mist as they navigated the narrow gorge. The rescuers knew they were working against the clock. With every passing hour, the river's relentless force threatened to pull the remaining survivors into its depths. The first priority was to locate those still alive. After an intense search, 2 survivors were spotted gripping onto the rocky walls of the gorge. They had been stranded there for 36 harrowing hours, exposed to the elements with no food or fresh water. With great precision, rescue teams lowered harnesses to the survivors, carefully hoisting them to safety. As they were airlifted from the gorge, a wave of relief spread among the rescuers and those anxiously waiting at the top. But the mission was far from over. Elsewhere along the river, the bodies of victims were being discovered. Some had been trapped beneath the water, caught in the jagged terrain of the riverbed. Others had been carried miles downstream, where the force of the water finally relented. For the families and friends of those missing, the wait for news was agonizing. In total, at least 7 people had lost their lives in the tragedy, with 6 still missing. The search for additional survivors continued at daybreak, though hope was fading. In the aftermath, the focus shifted to understanding what had gone wrong. Greg Voigt, a spokesman for Storm's River Adventure, expressed deep sorrow over the incident, acknowledging the shock and grief that had gripped the community. He emphasized that guides had checked the river's conditions before the trip, but no one could have predicted the sudden surge that had turned the outing into a disaster. Investigators determined that the accident had been caused by an unexpected flood from a tributary feeding into Storm's River. Heavy rains in the preceding days had swelled the smaller waterways, creating a hidden reservoir of water that, when finally released, unleashed a devastating force upon the unsuspecting group. It was a grim reminder of how unpredictable nature could be, even in a place that had been explored and enjoyed by adventurers for years. In the wake of the tragedy, new safety measures were proposed for adventure tourism in the region. Discussions arose about the necessity of life jackets for tubing excursions and the need for more comprehensive weather monitoring before allowing groups onto the river. While no changes could undo the loss suffered that day, there was a collective determination to ensure that such a disaster would never happen again. For those who survived, the memories of that fateful trip would remain etched in their mind forever. Storm's River, with its breathtaking beauty and formidable power, had reminded everyone of nature's dual nature, capable of offering both awe-inspiring wonder and unimaginable tragedy in the span of mere moments. Nature, in all its beauty and wonder, demands both respect and preparation. Storm's River, with its awe-inspiring landscapes and thrilling adventure opportunities, is a reminder that even the most breathtaking places can turn dangerous in an instant. For those who seek the thrill of Blackwater tubing, whitewater rafting, or any extreme outdoor activity, knowledge is your greatest ally. Checking weather conditions isn't just a formality, it's a necessity. Rivers can change rapidly, and what seems like a calm stretch of water can become a raging force within moments. If you're venturing into a remote area, always ensure that emergency plans are in place and that someone knows your route and expected return time. The importance of proper gear cannot be overstated. A wetsuit might protect against the cold, but a life jacket can mean the difference between survival and tragedy. Adventure companies often weigh the risks, but personal responsibility plays a crucial role. When faced with unpredictable natural forces, having the right safety equipment can be your best chance of making it out alive. Yet, even with the best precautions, nature sometimes has the final say. Understanding your limits, respecting the guidance of experts, and never underestimating the environment can prevent disasters before they happen. Storms River will always call to adventurers, offering its thrilling currents and stunning scenery, but it will also always demand caution from those who dare to explore its depths.